10 ways in which you can impress in your next interview. First of all, if you have a job interview lined up, then congratulations. You have made it through the first hurdle. That means your CV has been chosen out from hundreds of other CVs and they want to see you. That's a really good sign. But if, like many people, after a number of applications, you're still not getting that interview, it might be time for you to relook at your CV. Okay, let's start that countdown. 10 ways to impress in your interview. Number 1, dress to impress. Of course, first of all, you have to think about the industry in which you are interviewing in, and then you have to dress appropriately. Always looking smart and professional, but say you're working in the fashion industry, then you definitely want to wear something a little bit more trendy and fashionable. If you are working in the corporate industry, then I would always recommend a nice smart suit. If you are working in the design or creative industry, then maybe something a little bit more relaxed, but still very smart and perhaps a tad trendy. But always make the best effort that you can with your appearance. And to top that off, I would always recommend adding a nice spray of some delicious, divine perfume or aftershave. If someone smells good, it just makes me feel better about that person. But don't go overboard. You don't want to make the interviewer's eyes water. Number 2, be the best version of yourself. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean make sure that you do all those things, those sensible things that make you the best version of yourself. For example, sleep well the night before. Try to get in some exercise before the interview to invigorate yourself and wake everything up. Eat before the interview. So many people don't eat before an interview because they're nervous. But it's important that you do eat, because if it's a long interview process or if you're waiting for a long time, then you're just not going to be functioning very well on an empty stomach. Number 3, research the company that you are interviewing for. This is very important. A job, a big career move, is a long-term commitment. And so you have to show that you are interested in knowing as much information about that company and about that potential commitment before you even get there. If you haven't done any research and you know nothing about what they're doing, what projects they're involved in, what their motivations are in their industry, who their competitors are, if you don't know things like that, then it's just going to look like you don't care. And that brings me on to number 4. Tell them that you want the job. Throughout an interview, we can get so nervous and stressed that we forget to actually say out loud, I really want to work here, or I would like the job because. So make sure that you do state it clearly at some point in the interview, I want to work for you. Number 5, prepare some questions for them. Now, I too have struggled with this one myself, but it's important to have some pre-prepared questions for the end of the interview, when the interviewer will always say, do you have any questions for me? Try to avoid questions that involve salaries and benefits, and also avoid basic questions like, when will I hear? The best kinds of questions to ask are the ones that show your interest in the job role. For example, you could ask, what was it about the person who previously held this position that you liked so much? Or what would you like me to bring to this role within my first 90 days on the job? Or what qualities are you hoping to find in your ideal candidate? And I will put a list to some other ideas down in the description box below. So after this video, go and check those out for some more hints and tips. Number 6, be memorable. Now, I don't mean do something crazy that means they can never forget you. What I mean is be a bit different. So for example, when I used to go and interview for acting roles, I would always slip into the small talk at the beginning of the interview that I did gymnastics, or that I was a squash player, or something that was completely different and quite unusual. I once talked about horse riding, for example, And then those people always remembered me as the girl who did the horse riding or the gymnast. And that's how I became memorable. So try to drop something into the small talk that makes you a little bit different and makes you stand out from the crowd. Number 7, and I should have mentioned this at the beginning, a good handshake. This is your first impression, your first contact with your interviewer. Make sure you have a nice firm grip, not too strong because that could look like arrogance, but a nice firm handshake, and shake a couple of shakes from the elbow. Don't have a limp wrist and don't hold too softly. If you tend to have clammy hands, then make sure you have a handkerchief or something in your pocket so you can keep your hands dry just before that moment. But a good firm handshake does show confidence, so even if you're nervous, make sure you make the right impression. Number 8, be positive. Yay! It's very easy to head into an interview and instantly complain about your journey into the interview, to talk about, oh, the traffic was terrible, or, oh, I've had a terrible morning, my cat was sick all over the carpet. These types of things should definitely be left out of the interview room. The interviewer is looking for someone who's going to bring a positive impact into the role and into the company. So even if you're feeling like hell, if you have had the worst day ever, come in with an air of positivity to make them want to see you again. Number 9, be serious. Now, interviews and jobs are a very serious business, but some of us like to try and take it in our stride and be a little bit relaxed to show that we're not unnerved by the whole process. But by doing that, sometimes it can seem like we're not bothered. Or if you're doing an initial interview with perhaps the head of HR or someone who is not necessarily the decision maker, we might not take that interview as seriously as the main interview that will get you the job. But no matter where you are in the interview process and whoever it is you're interviewing with, always treat it like very serious business. You want the job after all, so always give it your full attention and your best shot. And finally, number 10, anecdotes. An anecdote is a story from your life, your experience. Now, your interviewer wants to know about you, but they also need to know about your skills and your experience. So if you can wrap all those things into one by telling a story about a time, perhaps in your old job, where you had to deal with conflict, and make it an interesting story, then not only are you going to be memorable, but you're also going to be relatable, and they're really going to understand the skills and experience that you have. So work up some anecdotes before you get into the interview room. So there you go, 10 ways in which you can impress at your next interview. I wish you the very best of luck. I'd love to know about your interview experiences, so do put them down in the comments section below. And if you have any additional tips of how people can really smash those interviews, then do add those to the comments section as well. I will put some additional helpful links down in the description box, so check that out. If you feel this video is helpful, then please do share it and give it a thumb up. And if you're learning English, then please do make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification button so you don't miss any future lessons. Until next time, take care, very best of luck, and goodbye.